Everybody back plugged in, good to go? All good?
You might want to double check the mics and pull that.
We'll put it on the ground. Okay, let's pause while we're here. Let's figure it out.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. You got people there. That's amazing.
You guys good now? Sound? Say a little bit, Kenny.
Hello, everybody. Y'all good?
Got it all right now? It sounded really good.
Guys, again, I go back to the press conference and I talked about when you put a staff together, for me, the things that were important. I want young people to be in a culture where there's players, former players, that have done everything that they're trying to do. Again, another home run hit in Danny Manning. One of the greatest players to ever play college ball, one of the best NBA players to ever play, a hell of a basketball mind as a coach. What better situation for me, my first head coaching job, than to have this brother, who I consider a brother, right next to me, guiding me, helping me, giving me his experiences along with mine and Nolan's, and trying to build this together. This is a home run. So welcome, Danny.
Take a few questions for Coach Payne first.
Yeah, Kenny, what's your background with Danny, or your relationship?
Great question. Danny's father, many moons ago, he's probably in heaven as well, looking down on us, is from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And I had the fortunate privilege of running into him early on, coming up in high school when he was home visiting his family. And had heard of him and got to sit down with him and talk. I think I may have been in the 9th grade. And watching Danny grow up, and at the same time as I'm growing up, and seeing his experiences and seeing what his father did, and his father always was great to me from that time on. So.
What was the process like to bring Danny in as part of your staff? Has it been a long discussion, or how long did it go to start?
I don't know if I can give you that information. All I can say to you is this. For me, it was a no-brainer. I hope Danny felt the same way throughout the process. It wasn't a lot of conversation. It was, this is what I'm trying to build. You fit the criteria of everything that I want and need in a coach. I love you as a man. I love you as a brother. I know what you stand for, your character. I need that. I need that. More importantly than the X's and O's and the basketball knowledge, I need good people. I need to surround young people with good people. And the fact that he's a great basketball mind is a major plus. But more important than any of that, who he is as a man.
Kenny, between the three of you now on staff, there's a lot of championships as players and coaches. Do you believe the idea that like having done that provides an actual benefit to trying to do it again? I
go back to culture. I've been fortunate to do it as a player, on a team as a player and as a coach. Danny's similar, very same. Nolan as well. What better culture than to have coaches that have done what you're trying to do, to build a championship culture, to build a championship team, than have guys that have done it, that can talk about it, talk about the sacrifices it took to get there. That's vital. I don't know another staff that has that. Again, I think this is a home run situation all the way around.
Kenny, how much does this hire help you personally as a first-year head coach, knowing that Danny has been a head coach at a couple stops, not only that, but a head coach in the ACC?
It's invaluable. I can't put that into words. And not just his experiences, but the relationship that me and him had. When Danny left, and Danny may not remember this, when he left Tulsa to go to Wake Forest, I'm sitting on the bus with the team, and Danny calls and says, I just told the guy at Tulsa to hire you. Do you remember that? And we hadn't talked before that. I didn't expect Danny to call me with that. That's my brother. I love him as a person, not to help me get a job. So we have a long history. I respect him as a man. I look at him as my family, and to have him beside me every day, invaluable.
Kenny, you obviously have now Danny and Nolan. As far as your staff, when do you like to continually add to it? And I guess, do you have a timeline on when you want to continually go through that process?
I do not have a timeline, and I guess by now you probably realize I'm very secretive. I want to surprise you guys. I don't want you to know which way I'm walking in the door. So, we'll figure that out when that time comes, but today is really about Danny Manning.
Kenny, you mentioned knowing Ed Manning and meeting him when you were in ninth grade. How well did you know Danny? Like when you all were at that Final Four in '86, did you see him at all? Was there any interaction?
We've been close for years. There's another connection in Derek Smith. So we've been close for a long, long time, and not just centered around college basketball, but also the training in the summers. He was represented by Ron Grinker, and Derek used to drive me up there, and they would work out, and A to Z. When Danny played on the Pan Am team, when Danny was coaching, come and give him a hug and watch him practice. So many years, I'm getting old, I can't remember all of it, but I can just say this to you, that we've been close for a very long time, and it makes me feel good that I got him on my side.
You guys went in the league, I think, a year apart. He was 88, you were 89. Did you guys ever go head-to-head in games? Do you remember that at all?
I probably was sitting watching Charles Barkley and Danny going head-to-head. But I remember when he was with the Clippers, and, Danny had a great career, and what he went through with the injuries, for me, just was a testament to the fortitude, the fight, the grit that you got to have, because, again, we're talking about helping young people, right? So here's a man that was on the top of the hill, and something happened. He had a knee injury. He had to get back up and get back on top of that hill, maybe a couple times. So what better, again, example for young people to know than this man?
Kenny, you mentioned training. You talked the other day about the guys that are here. What is going on with the guys that are here now? Are you working them out a little bit? Are you allowed, or kind of fill us up that?
I'm working them out. Not much, not extensively, but just 20 or 30 minutes a day, 2 days, 3 days a week. Just getting a feel for them. More importantly, having them get a feel for me, how hard I want them to train. The type of stuff that I'm about, and helping them become better basketball players.
Kenny, how is that going so far?
It's been going great. Ellis can tell you, I've seen a major difference from day 1 to day 3 in him. Sid went through his first workout yesterday, I think it was, and he got about halfway there, and he was on his knees. So we smiled and laughed about it this morning and told him, hang on to the rope, don't let go.
Was this the famous Kenny Payne treadmill workout?
No, it was not a treadmill.
Kenny, tell me something. Did the experience have anything to do with the ACC experience that Danny's bringing, have anything to do with you facilitating this hire?
No. No. To be honest with you, is it important? Yes. Danny Manning as a man is why I hired him. Danny Manning as someone who can mentor young people is why I hired him. Never really needed to talk about the conference. That comes afterwards. I needed to know that he could love people the way he has always done. This business sometimes, and I hate to say it like this, it makes us forget why we're here. Because there's so much money, there's so many different people pulling at you to do different things. But we are really the stewards of the most important times of people's lives. young people's lives. I hired Danny because of that. And after that comes what he's done as a head coach. After that becomes, his experiences within the conference.
Take a couple more.
Kenny, you've talked about the culture a lot, and with the two hires, there's a lot of other staff jobs that you have to go through. How difficult is it to put together a staff right now, and are you gaining some headway in those other positions?
I am. Again, I'm not going to tell you, but but I am. I'm making headway, and again, I'll say this to you. My job is to put together a great staff. When it's all said and done, and at the end of this, and every position is filled, I'm gonna feel comfortable that I surrounded myself with people that can help me.
Kenny, a lot like yourself, Danny has a reputation for player development, individual skill development. How important was that piece, and how much do you want that to be kind of foundational to what you're doing?
It is the foundation to what I'm doing. I need that piece. Danny, Nolan, myself, again, we have a reputation of being these developmental guys, but we're really more than that. That's just one piece of the puzzle. Can you sit down with a kid and get a kid to open up to you? Can you not make a kid feel like it's awkward to have a conversation? Can you grab a kid and say, get in the car, let's go have lunch? Can you tell me about your girlfriend? Can you tell me about your family dynamics? I need those type people, really do, because more so than any other time in our country, in history, these young people need mentors, good people, so that they can reach their goals and dreams the way that we did.
Kenny, earlier this week, there was a gentleman that said after you got the job, you had talked to Tom Jurich. In that conversation, did he indicate that he'd like to be the AD here again?
This is Danny Manning Day. So I'm going to lead this conversation with Danny Manning because we can't devalue what this means to the University of Louisville basketball program. And I'll leave it there.
Great, thanks, Kenny.
All right.
Pause just a moment here. Let's
You
get
got it.
out of here. Danny, why don't you slide over just a little bit here, put you in the middle. All right. Open questions for Danny.
Danny, as much as you can you just tell us sort of how this came together and what the process was?
I don't know how to answer that, but I do know when Kenny got the job, I reached out to him and sent him a text. Congratulations, happy, proud, all of that. And then followed up with, a couple more messages and, the things that we talked about, something that I wanted to be a part of. There are not too many times you get a chance to work for and be around people in this profession that you really, really care for, you enjoy being around. And so for me, when that opportunity came about, discussed it with my wife and our family, and knew it was something I wanted to do. Excited, fortunate, and blessed to have the opportunity to do, and didn't want to miss out on getting in on the ground level with Kenny as he builds this program.
We heard Kenny's description of the childhood and so forth. What's your reminiscences of that?
All that and, just a little bit more from the standpoint of, my father played professional basketball. Ron Grinker was his agent, and Ron would bring me up here. And I would see guys like Jerry in the gym playing. Or I remember going to many Metro tournaments and watching the Cardinals play. And so for me, it's just kind of come full circle. But the relationship that Kenny and I have, we work for guys that common interests. When I got to Kansas, Coach Kyle was a coach on that staff there. And so there's just a lot of connectivity. We talked about Nolan and Derek. Derek was somebody who helped show me what high-level basketball was about, and not just on the court. How to prepare, how to work, how to carry yourself. So there's a lot of love intertwined with all of this, and that's from Kenny's leadership and how he wants things done, and we're going to do the best we can to follow that suit.
Danny, obviously you have ACC head coaching experience. From your perspective, how valuable is that to come onto Kenny's staff with that?
Well, I'm just happy to be a part of the staff. In any way I can help out, I want to help out. And so there'll be times when, hey, when I was in this situation, this worked. When I was in this situation, this did not work. And just share different thoughts. That's the one thing that, I feel really confident about in who I'm working for, is being able to just hear. These are experiences I've had. This is something that helped me. This is something that didn't help. This is something I wish I would have done. And I'll continue to throw those out. Now, on the flip side, I've been a head coach as well, right? So you can take it all in, and you can hear it all, and then you have to make a decision on which way you want the program to go and which way you want to dictate movement, and then everybody else follows suit. So, my job, part of my job is to throw ideas at him and continue to throw ideas at him to help him navigate.
Danny, you're the second guy on that he's introduced this week. Your thoughts on Nolan and as a coach and now as part of the staff with you?
I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm proud. There's a lot of different emotions that are running through because there's a lot of connectivity. And to be a part of Kenny's first staff with Nolan, it just feels really good. And that's probably the best way to describe it.
Danny, as long as you've known Kenny, what gives you confidence that he's going to be a successful college basketball head coach?
Kenny. That's it. I mean, it's not one thing. It's the whole. It's who he is as a person, how he carries himself, how he interacts with the young people that he comes in contact with, how he teaches, how he motivates, how he connects, his relationship building. All these things just come together in perfect harmony. And to me, I was so happy to see that he got the opportunity to come back to his alma mater and lead the program. I just think it brings a lot of different energies back. It brings back a lot of wonderful thoughts during his time as a player here, and then it just brings back all the alumni, all the former players. Everybody feels good about it. Everyone that I've spoken with, they're so happy for him, they're excited, and they want to be a part and they want to help out. And that's part of what Kenny talked about also, is the community and making this about our players, making it about our community and what we can do for our city.
Danny, kind of building off of that last question, with this being Kenny Payne's first job as a head coach, has he already started asking you for advice of sorts of how a head coach goes about daily activities or anything else like that?
We've had some different conversations, and the one thing that I try to pride myself on is I try to be, I want to be a good listener. I want to listen and I want to share thoughts, especially thoughts that I feel like can help. And he's said to me, and I'm sure he's said to Nolan, anything you have that you think can help, share it. And that's kind of the comfort level that we have. And when someone who is the boss, who's directing the leadership, has that type of mentality, it just opens up a lot of wonderful conversations and a lot of trust, if you will, going through the whole situation.
Danny, you've been known as particularly with big men, but with players as a developer of talent, skill development as a strength. Is that something you pride yourself on? Is it something you and Kenny have talked about?
Yes, I want to be able to help young people grow on and off the court, and I've been very fortunate and blessed to have a lot of wonderful mentors in my life to help me get to this point. And I feel like it's only right to play it forward, and so to have that opportunity here, I'm really excited, and helping Kenny as he leads this program and his leadership, and I'm just very happy and extremely fortunate.
Achieved at the highest level of the game. I mean, you led Kansas to the national title. You're the #1 pick in the NBA draft, played in the league, been a
coach. What motivates you still at this age to take a step down and be an assistant coach after you've already been a head coach?
Kenny. It's just simple. That was an easy decision. You get a chance to, and I've been fortunate. I had a chance to work for Bill Self, who I knew before I started working for him, Mark Turgeon. We were college teammates, and now Kenny. And so for me, I've always been blessed in the sense of working for people that I've had a great relationship with, some people that I've cared for. And that's part of it. I mean, this business, this job it's 24/7. And it really helps. It's a lot more enjoyable when you're around people that you love and you care for, and everybody's moving in the same direction.
Danny, I know the roster's in flux all the time, especially in college basketball now, but having faced these guys earlier in the year, anybody stand out either in the scout of the game? I mean, that was probably one of their better games of the season.
Yeah, I remember that game, and it was my scout. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I remember quite a few offensive rebounds. That game was, they were relentless on the glass, played with great energy, and I was impressed with that team at that particular point. I thought those two games that they played in the Bahamas, I thought they were going to, continue to move forward on the trajectory that they were on. So I'm still getting to know who's a part of the roster and who's not. Kenny and I, we were talking about that earlier before we came down here. So I just know that anyone that's going to be a part of this is going to have to have 2 feet in. And, that's something that Kenny's going to talk about, and he always preaches. And once we establish that, then we'll get to work, and we'll challenge you to be the best you can be day in and day out.
Recruiting is obviously a lifeblood of a good program, and obviously 3 very recognizable names who've been on the recruiting trail for quite a while. What do you think this says when, whether it be you, Kenny, Nolan, whoever the next assistant may be, walk into these AAU events or a kid's home to bring them to Louisville?
Well, I think our reputation helps us kind of get in the door. But, you're not always going to get in on reputation. So you have to get in on who you are as a person. And, I feel like with Kenny, with Nolan, and myself, we've built great relationships over time with a lot of quality people in the high school and the AAU ranks. And we're going to have to lean on those relationships to continue to put ourselves in situations to bring in young people that are great fits and want to play for Kenny and the style of play that Kenny wants to use. So, for me, it's we'll ID somebody and we'll talk about it as a staff, and Kenny okays it, and then we'll go after them.
Danny, earlier this week, Kenny was talking in reference to Nolan. You're a coach, but you're a former player. You kind of know what these players are thinking and going through, and that's how you can help them maybe best. Do you see it that way as well?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I've been very fortunate and very blessed, and a lot of times it's, when I was in this situation, this didn't work, right? Or this did work. Or it might be just throwing a couple ideas to a young man to just, hey, I don't know which way you need to navigate and go. I don't know exactly how you're feeling, but I have an idea. And we can figure it out together. So I think you look at Kenny, you look at Nolan, you look at myself. There's not one player that's going to be on a roster that we won't be able to connect to in some way, shape, or form. Because one of the 3 of us have been in that role before as a player.
Take a couple more.
Danny, Kenny, during his introductory press conference, talked a lot about the style of play he wants to have, going fast, getting up and down the court. For you as a coach experience, you mentioned like bouncing ideas off. What are some tips and feedback, some things that you'll like to try to navigate with when you talk about offense and defense?
Well, I think a lot of it will also depend on game management. We'll have a style of play, and we'll be aggressive, and we want our guys to play confident and share the basketball and play as one. But there's certain situations and certain games that you might have to change the tempo. You might have to throw a different wrinkle out there defensively. You might have to change your ball screen defense. And so, all of that is just game management. And, also if you're able to dictate kind of the flow of the game, or if you could take something away from that opposing team. So, there'll be a lot of decisions that'll be made going into a game. I mean, you'll go into a game, you have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you hope plan A works. and then, you move to B if it's not, and then you go to C, and hopefully you don't have to get too far down the line. But, that's part of the coaching management of the game and trying to figure out what you can do to help your young people be successful for that particular game.
Danny, when you came out of high school, this thing was rolling pretty good here. How seriously? I know your dad was obviously you played for your dad at Kansas, but did Wade Houston recruit you? Like, how seriously did you consider Louisville as an option at that point?
It was definitely an option. For me, as a player, I look back on the players that were playing for Coach Crum, and to me, it's just versatility. Like you look at the McCray brothers. What did they do? They did everything. Then Billy comes in. What does he do? He does everything. And so, the style of play that Coach Crum was using with his players I thought was a fun way to play. I thought the versatility, the speed, the quickness, the athleticism was a lot of fun. And I reflect back on coming here and just playing pickup games. And it was just like mind-blowing just to see the amount of versatility and skill out on the court.
Did you play at Crawford Gym?
There was a Crawford Gym. I can't remember. It was, yeah. Like Kenny said, I'm getting old. That was a long time ago.
Danny, in the history of this program, a city program, Kenny is the first black head coach. He's now hired 2 black men as assistant coaches. Is that significant to you? Is it meaningful to you to be on a staff like that?
Well, it's significant to be on Kenny's first staff at the school that he played at. And so that's the biggest thing for me. And then being a mentor, being a role model, if I can, to the young people we come in contact with is also important. But it's more so important when they're done playing. You want to get that phone call, hey, Coach, this is what we're going through. This is what's happening in my life. I got this promotion, or we're about to have our first child, or our first child went to communion. Those are the stories that you really enjoy sharing and talking about when your players come back and they give you that type of energy. So we do it because we've been very fortunate and blessed on our journey, and we want to play it forward and to help the young people we come in contact with every day.
Great, thank you, Danny. I'll give you an opportunity to introduce your wife.
This is my better half. She's been rolling with me since we met in college in Kansas. This is my wife, Julie.
Hello.
Great.
Thank you.